Amanda here from createyourfuture.co. I've got Linda joining me today. Hey, Linda.
Hi, Amanda. How are you?
I'm good. Guys, Linda is a new addition to our team. She's absolutely amazing, knows the law of assumption inside and out. We're really happy to have her. She's done lots of coaching around and about in all of the communities. So she's having a sale as well right now. It's 50% off her coaching. So not for long. So definitely check it out. So we've got a really exciting video of law of assumption explained. And I think this is so important because sometimes we just get confused on what it is, and the thing is, right, is the magic is all around you constantly. Like you're constantly always manifesting. It never gets turned off. It's so funny. I've been in, Reddit and stuff, and I see comments of, I used to be into manifesting, but I stopped manifesting for a while. Like, how? What do you know that I don't know? You can't. It's always happening.
Yeah. And when somebody says, I don't have SP yet, I'm going to stop manifesting. I'm so tired of manifesting. Well, you're manifesting right there. You're going to create yourself not having SP because that's a manifestation in itself. So it actually worked out perfectly. It still worked out for you. I think a lot of people are associating manifestation with like something you're doing to get something, like a magic spell or the words that you're saying. And I did all the techniques and then it didn't happen. When really everyone needs to realize that creation is already done and everyone is you pushed out. So we're just trying to, work on ourselves, our self-concept, our blocks and all those things. And it'll reflect back to us and it'll bring you to that version of yourself that has that desire and have that person show up for you in the way that you desire as well. It's not magic. It's your thoughts creating, really.
Exactly. And I think one of the other big things is, so first of all is you're always manifesting. It never gets turned off. So hold on here. Look at any sort of childhood trauma, not responsible, basically anything that you were manifesting, before you were consciously creating, basically, don't hold yourself and blame yourself for. And even things that you've manifested that you don't like when you have been aware, awake, and consciously creating. Again, it's not a blame game. Don't blame yourself. Forgive yourself. Get over it, right? But you've always been manifesting. When I look back on my life, no matter if it's good or bad, I'm like, wow, actually, you know what? I didn't. I remember I had this job. It was like minimum wage. I'm like, no, my next job is going to be like $30 an hour. And guess what my next job was $30 an hour. Like I've been doing it my whole life. We've all been doing it our whole life. Now we just happen to be awake to it. Right. Yeah. And conscious to it. So we can't turn around and say now that, I'm not doing it. I'm stopping to, like Linda said, perfectly said, I'm not going to manifest him anymore. No, well, now you just basically start saying, well, I'm rejecting myself now, you're still manifesting it, right? You can't ever turn this off, right?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people chalk it up as a coincidence. When I say you just manifested that, they're like, no, it's a coincidence. I applied for the job and then I got it. Well, you also couldn't get it. Maybe somebody else could have got the job or they weren't hiring anymore, but you got it because you did the steps that we discussed and the job came. Or when someone breaks up with an SP and then SP comes back, they came back because, I broke up with them and it made them chase me back. No, you manifested that. Whatever you were thinking showed up and created it. I think also that people associate, manifesting with like that surface level stuff, like just doing the affirmation or the next best technique or the next coolest thing to get the person. And nobody really wants to, put in the work. It's like a hard pill to swallow to realize that you create everything around you, good, bad, and ugly. But you know what? I always say failure is feedback. So if you feel like you failed or you messed up and you didn't get your manifestation, no, stop, look back and say, what was I thinking before that happened? What was I assuming? What's the story I have about it? And when you reverse engineer like that, you realize I did create that. And what else did I create in that way? And once you're aware, it's like you'll start to notice it and, just get right back into the new story when that happens.
Exactly. And the other pattern I think people have is they manifest something and they manifest. And all of a sudden they get to something that doesn't happen. And then boom, that's it. This isn't true. This isn't real. I don't manifest. I'm stopping for now because they failed a little bit. I'm going to do a video, guys, on this soon. Okay. Of how I've healed my health problem a long time. It took me a long time. Anybody that knows me, they know that I struggled for a long time with a mystery illness. And, there was layers of an onion. Okay. I think and this is things like, okay, one SP, you manifest him, it's like, okay, it doesn't work, or her, you can get someone new. So not every story about somebody is about you. Okay. So that, you know, say you have an SP and your story with them is that they're a player, but you have a good self-concept. You get a new SP that you have a good, you know, story about, it works out. You know, but sometimes you can have a story, a self-concept story, and it doesn't matter which SP you're going to get, you're going to have the same thing show up, or you're going to have a combination of the two. But I think when it comes to like money and health, like those things you can't escape from. There is no, oh, I'll just get a new health, I'll just get a new money. Like those ones are the really hard pressing ones that you really need to dig through your story. And you know, with health, you know, I noticed it was like, first of all, I mean, I could blame everybody. Oh, it was my doctor. Oh, it was the health system. Oh, it was this, right? But really at the end of the day, or it was my coach. My coach was crap. No, it's nobody's fault but our own. Okay. Our coaches are here to help and guide you and support you. We cannot manifest for you. We don't make that claim, but we will be your cheerleader. We will help you see your blind spots, right? So, you know, for me, for my health, it was like, I had a blind, okay. I had a story about doctors. I got rid of that, got a good doctor. Then I got a story about the healthcare system. Okay, now I changed that. Then I just had obviously a story about me being good enough to be healthy. Got rid of that, and boom, finally happened. But it took a while. It was a long road, and there were so many times I could have given up or blamed other people. But you know, that's the thing. I know that there's no escaping it. There's no escaping it. Like you're constantly doing it. This is your quantum bubble, and regardless, you wake up every day, you're manifesting. Every day I'm manifesting. But you can't get away from it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just it's happening.
And that's the good thing about having a coach, because I have a lot of people that say to me, but I do have a good self-concept, but I was doing this, but I was doing that. Sometimes you need that outside person, that coach, to kind of say, what were you thinking? What were you feeling? And start digging. And the coach will be the one to point out something from your past or your childhood. And then you have that aha moment, like, oh yeah, I was thinking that. Because when you're in that victim mentality, it's easy to blame everyone else. It's more comfortable to blame everyone else. It's uncomfortable to, you know, take responsibility for your actions. So, you know, having a coach point those kind of things out to you is really helpful. And then once you break through those blocks, you know, that's when you're able to change the story and, you know, manifest your desires in. Get out of your own way.
Right. Exactly. You know, it really does come down to that is, you know, is sometimes I did coaching for 2 years in an intensive course for everyone as you pushed out. And you know what, one thing I will say is, you know, with me, not everything changed in that time that I was in coaching, because there was a lot of like digging through me, and there was a lot of, Amanda, you know, get back on your mental diet, smarten up, you know, and, you know, and a lot of learning. And it was about learning me, myself, and how my magic wand worked. And it was after, you know, it was like, okay, you know what, I know how to do this. And I've had coaching periodically and whatever after, and it turns, you know, and you know, you just got to make everything in your reality mean it's going to work. You know what I mean? And I think one of the biggest like pitfalls people see is like, they're like, oh, you know what, I've been manifesting perfect health. I say I'm in perfect health every day. And then they come over for coffee and they're like, oh my God, guess what? You wouldn't believe this. I woke up this morning, I got this big blah, 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 you know, and it's like, whoa, no, you got to be careful what you say to people. You know, you can't be on the phone complaining. You can't be with your friends and your girlfriends complaining. And I think that's what, you know, the coaching does, is it creates a safe space where we're not going to let you do that.
Yeah. And
right?
people don't realize that those are the little things. I've been doing all the techniques, but what's your mental diet like? What were you thinking, gossiping about, complaining about the rest of the day? And another thing with when it comes to manifesting is some people say that if it takes, you know, over a week, you're doing it wrong. If it takes 2 years, it's not going to happen, and things like that. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's practice makes perfect. It's repetition. Once you keep repeating the new story, you're going to impress the subconscious mind, and it comes when it comes. The more you compare yourself to others' journeys and the more you look at the time, you're actually creating more resistance and making it take longer. And everybody has different underlying stories, different self-concepts. So somebody might be really good at manifesting money, but they have like not the best of luck in relationships, and vice versa. So it's just a matter of taking the time you need. And the more you do it, the more you're going to start catching those old thoughts. The more you're going to be aware of what you're thinking, and the more you're going to interrupt them. And as long as you're thinking dominantly the most, you know, the favorable story, then you'll start to see movement. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
Well, exactly. And you know, and you know, I've manifested some things faster than others. And the reason for it is I put more energy towards some of the things more than others because first of all, it didn't hurt bad enough. You know, we have this saying in NLP, you know, this guy was like walking and his dog was like howling on this porch sitting beside this guy, just howling away. And the guy says, "Mister, you know, like what's wrong with your dog?" And he says, "Well, he's sitting on a nail." And the guy's like, "Why doesn't he move?" And he's like, "Well, it doesn't hurt bad enough yet, right? Sometimes it's got to hurt bad enough." And unfortunately, when it does hurt bad enough, all of a sudden we start blaming everybody else for the situation we're in. We start blaming, you know, law of assumption for not working and all of this, when really we need to stop and go, okay, I have the energy to make the change now. I am fed up with my situation, and putting that energy and moving it inside to say, okay, look at, I've got the energy to sit down and get a pen and paper and start changing this, you know. And we're layers of an onion. Sometimes we have more than one story and we don't see it, you know, and you know, and it comes like that. It's about being patient with ourselves and just getting ourselves out of the way is the huge thing. And knowing that you're always creating and you can't turn it off. And it's okay to create something bad. Don't be scared of it. I created something bad yesterday, a few things, and I turned them all around by today. You know why? Because I didn't make it a big deal. I didn't emotionally react to it. I was like, you know what? So be it, you know? And then actually I've got a few, you know, people that I like to talk to that help coach me. And I said, we need to talk. We made some intentions and boom, things changed around, right? So, you know, it really helps to have that positive influence. And if you don't, you know, just stay away from the negative influences. And the other thing I would say is just stay away from everything negative in general. Like it has a way to suck you in. Like Neville says, focus only on things that are good and positive, like seriously.
Yeah,
you know?
and to add to that, that includes, you know, sometimes if you speak to your friends and family that are not into the law of assumption and think it's like woo-woo, they're going to be the ones that tell you it doesn't work, give up, they're not coming back to you, move on, find someone else. So don't have conversations with people that don't understand the law of assumption, but also understand that whatever they're saying to you is still a reflection of you. If you're thinking SP is not going to come back, and if you're kind of thinking that you should move on from SP, that's also why they're saying that. And to go back to your point about, it didn't hurt enough for the dog to move. You literally have to get sick of your own, you know what? Like I just got sick of it. I was like, Linda, you know what? I am tired. It's a pattern. I keep seeing it. I'm sick of it. And actually, that's sometimes the aha moment you need to take that step. I've had coaching too, you know, and sometimes you're just like, I'm ready. I need to change. I'm trying all the things. Maybe it's just surface level. I need somebody to help, you know, get me to the next step, which is where the coaching comes in, and just to kind of point out things that that you haven't noticed. And it's not just your self-concept and mental diet. Like, let's just say we're talking about SP. There's 3 parts to it. It's a self-concept you have about yourself. It's a self-concept and story you have of SP. You can't be calling him a narcissist and avoidant and then try to manifest him back.
And he's ghosting me.
Right?
All of a sudden now he's a ghost. Okay.
Yeah. And the third piece is relationships in general. So there's a lot to uncover sometimes. And, you know, it helps to have someone, an outsider, kind of be able to point that stuff out for you.
Exactly. You know, and, you know, one thing just to go back to like the health story, you know, and sometimes the stories that are holding you back are from years ago. So 2 examples. Okay. So the first example for the health story for me was, you know, having a health problem. I know when I manifested it, and I know a lot of people have this story. And like I said, I'll do a video upcoming about manifesting perfect health. But it was years ago when I was working. I hated working, and there was paid like medical leave, right? So I was like, oh, just manifest getting sick so I don't have to come to work and I can go sit home and get paid. And I know a lot of people have that story. And the other story, and that was my story, but other stories that I've heard other people say and clients, you know, that was stopping them from perfect health was basically when they weren't feeling well, they were getting attention. They were getting attention from friends, family. They were getting coddled. They loved the attention. So, you know, I mean, finding out what stories we're running about things, you know, and what rackets, what are we benefiting from running that, right? You know, the other thing, you know, I remember like in my relationship. So Andrew wasn't the first guy I dated that was previously married, that was divorced. So before, I never had problems in any relationships, never. Okay. Like I always got the guy I wanted. Like I was like 300 pounds and I was dating a supermodel. Like he was like hot, right? And he was like, oh, you know, you're the cutest, the most great girlfriend in in the world. I'm like, of course I am. Anyway, and it was always my choice whether I wanted to be with them or not, right? And I've never been dumped, okay? And then this first guy came along that was previously married. Nothing to do with it. And then, same thing the next time, right? And then it was like, no, with Andrew, he was too good to let go. I'm like, I need to figure out what I've manifested here. And sure enough, I talked to one of my girlfriends, right, just out of the blue, and I didn't even tell her anything about it. She just happened to call, and we're talking, and then she says, oh, you remember when you're 20, we were drinking, and you said, oh, you know what, men that are previously married always have baggage and don't want to get another relationship. And my mouth dropped. I was like, yep. And then then that minute I changed that story, and then boom, 5 days later, me and Andrew were together, right? So moved in together and ready to commit, right? And now, of course, guys, we're married, right? So, that's the thing, right? Is it's your story, and some of your stories may not have been grieved. So your stories stay in play. They're like little sticky notes out there, okay? Yeah. And one time we were gambling, and I had this story when I was younger. I don't gamble. I said I don't gamble because it cuts into my drinking money. Okay, what a dumb thing to say, because now we're doing like quarter bingo, right? And it's only like peanuts, like we maybe win $11. Okay, but I'm not winning. Everyone around me is winning. I'm not. And so if I asked this to myself, I'm like, why am I not winning? And then we started talking about winning, and the guy down in the end says, well, I know why I'm not winning. And he says, because gambling cuts into my drinking money. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I was like, he said it word for word. And I was like, are you kidding me? So then I turned it around. The next day I went to bingo. I won the first hand, and like a third hand, I won again. And and that was, I said that when I was like in my 20s, when I was partying with my girlfriends, like, oh my God. So, sometimes it's just a matter of, digging through sometimes. But if you just go, okay, what's in my way? And you listen to yourself and everyone as you pushed out people around you, it'll resonate back to you, right?
Yeah. And a lot of times when I'm coaching people or even talking to my friends about it, the core story, the core issue is like so far from whatever they would have thought. They're like, I do think I'm good enough. I do think I'm beautiful. Like, I don't know why I don't have SP. I'm confident. I have a great job. I have this. And it goes back to something so random where like, dad was in the army and they were traveling all the time. So they never made connections with friends, and everyone's always leaving them, and they're always leaving people. And it's reflecting in relationships where they're being left, and they're like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that. Or they say, I have an amazing concept. Well, confidence and self-concept are two different things. You could be confident and walk into a room with your head held high, but what are you thinking about yourself in relation to your desires and things you're manifesting? So that's another thing to look at. Those are two different things.
Yeah. And, and sometimes it is deep and it's from childhood, and sometimes it's just surface, and sometimes it's not like, you say, I don't know, somebody's late picking you up. It doesn't mean that there's some deep rooted reason. Everybody creates things differently. There's no saying if someone creates a third party, two people will create it totally different. Maybe one is rooted in childhood. Maybe one is just surface level, thought he was a player, but it's all you've got to figure out how you created it, or you get someone on our team to help you figure out how you created it. We want to get in your mind. We want to know what you're thinking. We want to help you get what you want. Right. And, I know for me and my health issues, I've heard people say this, well, I've been saying I'm in perfect health for years. It's not working. Well, I said I was in perfect health for years too, but I didn't get rid of all those other stories. We're complicated beings with stories, and you can have two contradictory stories and beliefs, and it's not going to help, because they're going to cancel each other out, right? So, it's about digging in there sometimes, and sometimes, it is on top of just, manifesting your desires. And hopefully when you're focusing on the outcome and living in the end, it's going to clear up a lot of that kind of stuff, right? So if you say, look at, I've got abandonment issues because my dad left me, but then you go, look at, I know he's going to be with me forever, and Andrew always wants to be with me. He's never going to leave me. That's going to work on those abandonment issues right there. So don't be scared if you don't know what the root is. You can still fix it without knowing what the root is as well, right? So I just want to clear that up.
Yeah, we don't always have to fix our inner child. We just need to know what that block is and let it go. It doesn't have to be fixed or changed. Just all we have is now. Whatever we're thinking now is what we're going to change. Whatever we're thinking now is what's going to reflect later. The past is done, and that's what we're doing. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and a lot of times it'll be your reality that'll show you your blocks, even if you don't know what they are. Just like, what did your SP say? You know, did he call you? Did he not call you? I mean, right there, it's plain as day, because those are your previous thoughts, right? So.
And a lot of questions and comments that I see in chats and like that people ask me, and I don't know what my block is, or I don't know what happened. I'm like, read your question, read your comment. You've probably stated it yourself in that question, in that concern, in that comment. At the end of the day, it's, you know, everyone is you pushed out and your most dominant thoughts create. So somewhere, somehow you were thinking something unfavorably, more dominant, and that's what it is. And you know, you just need someone, if you're doing all the techniques and you've been manifesting for months and it's still not here in your 3D, that's when, okay, we need to like crack the whip and really dig down and get some help, because you know, you might need somebody to help you dig deeper.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of counseling, coaching. You know, I always believe that, you know, it's easier for me to like focus on, you know, like today I was talking with a coach, right? And we had a good hour-long conversation. We made some great intentions, and it was so easy because they're into it too, and it feels so good, you know? And that was a lot more effective for me than sitting here alone at my table with a book and pen and paper. It's just so much more fun and interactive, right? So, I mean, but you know what though, guys, we put everything in our videos for free. We don't gatekeep anything, so you can absolutely create it just by watching our videos. And you know what? Guess what? You're always manifesting anyway. So even if you don't know a law of assumption and you don't watch these videos, you're still manifesting anyway. So, right? I think one thing though for everybody is do the list of little manifestations, because it's so important for you to learn how you manifest and you know what your amount of dominant thoughts are, because really when we're giving up and discouraged and feeling hopeless, it's only in ourselves, and it's only a misunderstanding of what we're really capable of and how our power works, right? So learn how to use your power with that little list, right? And keep adding to it and keep checking off things that show up, and don't make them things with a lot of resistance. Like just make them things that are a little bit like different, that you would recognize, but like not a big deal.
Yeah. And doing things like that is what's going to build your trust in the law. It's going to build your confidence in your power. And you're going to be like, okay, if it works for this, it can work for something bigger and better. So, yeah.
Exactly. You are so amazing. You're so knowledgeable. I know you're going to help so many people on this team. Guys, comment, welcome Linda, welcome her to the team. Actually, you've been already posting videos on the channel, and the feedback of how amazing your videos are is overwhelming. It's really great. People are really happy to see it. So, and I'm not surprised. You do know what you're talking about. So.
Good. I'm glad. And I intend that I'll be helping many, many viewers and subscribers. So looking forward to that.
Exactly. Awesome, guys. Well, we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye.